your spirit to where you lose it. Because as women, it's a yin and yang effect, right? Remember yin and yang, how it's black and white? Mm-hmm. Well, the man is the spirit and the woman is the soul. So meaning the man's the spirit, you know how the man is the go-getter. He's like, yeah, let's go do this. Like, screw this shit. And they can move on and they can leave a situation like it's nothing. But with us, we're the soul, so it's different. So we're like, well, let's think about this and let's evaluate our feelings. And we're the crybabies and we're this, because we're the soul. Because a man has a spirit which is up here in his mind, but we have the heart and the mind. And when it's both affected, it breaks our spirit. So that's when we get in that loop of depression and we keep living our life repeat. Because we had our spirit broken so long ago that we don't even know how to find ourselves. Like, when I see you, like, your soul is floating up here somewhere and you want it back.
Yeah.
And have you...
I changed a lot.
Have you ever thought about maybe that you would like to go through a spiritual awakening?
Sometimes, I mean, the spiritual part has not been like a huge focus, but I have thought about it more lately, you know, just because it's come up a lot and I'm starting to be like open to that kind of thinking.
Well, my spiritual awakening that I went through was through the universe and my husband. It's nothing about God, it's nothing about this. It's just learning to let go and see things for what they are. And we also have to take our parts, because just as you know, he had parts in your marriage, you had parts in your marriage.
Oh, definitely.
So we have to learn to take responsibility, look outside the box. But what happens is you start to awaken and come conscious and become your higher self. And you can forgive, you can let go. It'll absolutely change your life. And this is another thing that we do for people. We work with lots of women that have trauma. And we start a process to awaken them. And once you start awakening, you will not ever be taken advantage. You will know how to decode people. You will see it for what it is, not for the veil that people put over. But on top of that, you'll finally be able to take off your masks that you have to wear. Because you have a mask for every occasion, because you don't even know yourself.
Yeah.
So when you go to work, you wear one mask. When you're a mom, you wear this mask. When you go to your friends, you wear that mask. When you see your husband, you wear this mask. You see what I'm saying? It's all these. But wouldn't you just like to be you?
Yeah.
And what the awakening does is it brings you back to you, the original you, before the trauma and pain and your life was altered. So you can get out of bed and be happy. But on top of that, when you go through the awakening, everybody has psychic abilities. We're all born with them. When you go through the awakening, it opens you up and makes you conscious more. So you'll be able to grasp all those abilities. You will have your own psychic abilities. You will be able to do this. You will be able to do that. You will be able to do all these things. But that's another thing that we do is we take women that have had trauma and we take you through the awakening process step by step. And I'm telling you right now, it's hard, but it is life-changing. I can put you on the phone with the other women that we do this with, and their lives have changed. They wake up happy, they're aware, they're not being taken advantage by men, especially the ones that are single, that have been divorced, have been in trauma situations. They're starting to live life and function. So I'm just saying, that is an option for you, because that is something that we do.
Yeah, I would like to definitely learn more about that.
Because we do it, and we'll do it in sessions. Cool. So, like, you'll come over like once or twice a week, and then we'll work on you with this, and then we'll work on this step, and that step, and this step, and that step.
How long does that usually take? Or, I mean, I'm sure it's different for everyone. But
it is. It's basically how much trauma you've had and how quick you can understand.
Yeah.
Your part, his part, but also we have to learn to forgive. And I'm not saying you have to call and be like, I forgive you. No, you gotta forgive yourself. Because you gotta forgive yourself for what you put up with. And And that was a problem, and it still is a problem for me. Like, why the hell did I put up with the stuff that I put up with? Why? Why did I let somebody beat me up in the front yard in front of the whole neighborhood?
Yeah.
Why did I take that abuse? Why did I entertain any kind of thoughts of bullshit that they said, or even remotely believed anything that came out of their mouth? And what happens is, after the fact that you get separated from a person like that, they still try to manipulate you.
Oh, definitely.
Call you, tell you this, tell you that, manipulate this, manipulate that, even kind of leave a open door open. So if this doesn't work out over here, well, I'll just leave this open door here. So then I got her, and it's called black magic. That's what they do. They manipulate you.
He's very much been like that.
And he'll do it for years. It won't stop. And every time...
Yeah, so I know I need to definitely just be stronger, rise above it, and I mean, all I can do is control myself and the way I react.
Right, but the words go in our mind, and they stay, and they affect. That's why the ego gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Like in my situation, I've been with my husband for over 10 years, but my ex would send a little text message or make a little phone call, and it was just periodically over the years. But it's what you call black magic, where they get in your head. They feed you little this, little that, little this, and it's all
he's
about...
very good at that. Mine is.
Yeah, it's all about manipulation. And it's all about to hold you back in life and kind of put you up here in, like a purgatory. Here, there. But I realized, and I was mad. I was mad when my husband brought it to my attention. You had been manipulated. You have black magic. If that's what we call black magic. It's black magic. Manipulates your head, and you're still on a puppet string. Even though you hate that person, it's still that puppet string, because they put so much fear in you that it's still an intimidation factor.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that it was all bullshit, and I was manipulated. And we have a 15-year-old son together, and now he uses the son in the middle as the puppeteer.
That's exactly what I'm going through right now with our 7-year-old.
And he's using him back and forth, getting messages to mommy, blah, 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 blah. Or don't tell mommy this, but tell mommy that.
Well, he's more like, because he agreed to, the child lives with me, and he agreed to these visitation and stuff, and now he's asking for more. Ever since the taxes were done this last season, he keeps threatening me to do like 50-50. He doesn't want to pay child support anymore.
Even with 50-50, he's still going to have to pay child support.
Well, the worst thing is that he keeps trying to manipulate me, like whenever his girlfriend's not around, he tells me how good I look and like insinuates sexual stuff.
It's manipulation.
Yeah. So I mean, what you're saying with the puppet string, if he doesn't get his way, like if I don't let him see my youngest on times that he's not scheduled to, he's like, I'm going to take you to court. You're going to have to get an attorney.
That's just blase.
It gets to me though.
That's the point. I mean, like my situation, I had child support. It was a very small amount. But like I said before, I grew up in a narcissistic household, so I was a narcissist before I went through this awakening, full blown. We even have a YouTube channel where, I told the world the truth about myself. But through the awakening, it changed me. And you also have narcissistic qualities because you were with a narcissist. And we don't want to believe that, but we mirror the behavior. So therefore, we pick up their energy, you pick up their traits. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And when y'all fought, you can never resolve anything because y'all mirror each other. So you're fighting yourself, and he's fighting himself.
And some of the stuff she's saying about him, I'm not saying like now, but there's probably some times in the past where you can recognize maybe you did the same thing as well. And that's how you're speaking of you're changing. Probably because you've noticed those things yourself. But it doesn't always mean that everything's 100% his fault.
Oh, yeah, no, the relationship's not 100% his fault.
Of course.
I think a root of it is just our two communication styles were so bad.
Yeah. See,
or so incompatible.
I'm the worst communicator. I'm learning. But I didn't know that I was supposed to speak my feelings in a situation. You see what I'm saying? I'm learning to speak my feelings. Like when I'm depressed, I have to tell him, hey, I'm depressed. Or I have to tell him, or I ask him. I learned just recently, like when he looks into me, ask him, what do you see in me when I feel like this? So I can see who or what is affecting me.
Yeah.
But just because we have an ego, which I just learned, because I thought my ego defined me. I thought my ego was running the show. But it's not, because we're working out here, which is our crown. And we work up here, outside, because when we're trauma, we have to do it backwards, like within, without. Well, we have to work with our without to change our within. You see what I'm saying? So every time we're strong, every time we're in a similar situation and we know it's wrong and we react the right way, it's going to start changing that within. It's going to start pushing that ego out, and you are making your own decisions, because if you were letting that ego make this thing, all your decisions, you'd be doing your same old behavior. And that's what I'm changing about myself. My within may say, oh, that's not really how you feel, but my without is saying, oh, I know out here that this is what's right. Just because this is messed up in here doesn't mean I can't change that within. I can change my within.
Yeah.
But we have to do it the reverse way.
Yeah.
Because everybody says match your within with your out. Well, this time we have to take our without and put it within us.
Makes sense.
So it's like the reverse effect.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm working on, is that reverse effect. And I have many triggers. I have problems with men because I've been so traumatized. Like, for example, we had a maintenance man that came over here. Well, I didn't even think of anything, but he saw in my head and he was like, oh, da-da-da. We kind of got in a big discussion about what he saw, and I wanted to, hook up with the maintenance man, all this stuff. It was just because of my head. But, okay, no, that wasn't it. I have bad roots. I grew up in a very over-sexualized house, so I was molested, everything underneath the sun. So I came in here, got away from him, regrouped, and I figured out he was a trigger. He was a trigger to a traumatic situation that happened to me in high school, where I couldn't get out of the car. I was forced to do things I didn't want to do. But I was always a girl that couldn't say no.
Yeah.
Because I always lived in fear, and I wanted everybody to like me.
Yeah.
So those are traumatic situations. Even if I put myself in it, to this day, it still traumatizes me. Because now I know I was smarter and better. But I have to forgive myself still. Because I feel like, I'm nasty. I'm an awful woman. Like, some days I don't even want to go out in public. But I have to realize I was taught that 5 years old. 6 years old, by my brother, who I loved. Like, I did everything with him. Everything with him. I looked up to him. And for him to do that, it literally broke my spirit at a very young age. And it sucks. And then to have narcissistic parents you can't even talk to. And then when I got older and told them the truth, it was basically like, keep it to yourself. Like my own father told me, keep all my skeletons in my closet. They're better left there. I was going to therapy. I had written a suicide note and left it to him and had walked out on 306 to get hit by a car. And I was dead set. I was done. I literally walked out there because it would be so easy. They're so fast. Nobody would even blink an eye.
And so you said you've been thinking about someone a lot lately.